Welcome back. I'm your host, Susanna Mayo Hagen, and today we are going to talk about Final Destination 3. Final Destination 3 is a 2006 American supernatural horror film. Let's get into the plot. High school student Wendy visits an amusement park in Pennsylvania with her boyfriend Jason, Jason's best friend Kevin, his girlfriend Carrie, and their classmates to celebrate their graduation. As they board the Devil's Flight roller coaster, Wendy has a premonition of a chain reaction causing the roller coaster to derail, killing everyone. She convinces Kevin along with her best friend Ashley and along with best friends Ashley, along Frankie, athlete Lewis, and golf couple Ian McKinley and Aaron to leave, but fails to save Jason and Carrie, who are killed by the subsequent derailment. Weeks later, Kevin tells Wendy about several people who escaped the Flight 180 explosion. Again, they're connected. It happens a lot. As a result, death came after them in the order they would have died in the explosion. After Ashley and Ashlyn, it's Ashley and Ashlyn. I always thought their name was Ashley and Ashley. It's Ashley and Ashlyn are burnt to death in their tanning bed. Wendy and Kevin set off to save the other survivors. Using the clues of their death in the photograph, Wendy looked at the amusement park while trapped. While Wendy and Kevin attempt to identify Frankie's death, Frankie's head is sliced open by an engine from Kevin's truck, in which they were trapped. The next day, Lewis is killed when the weight of the machine crushing his head at the school gym. As they attempt to save Ian and Aaron, who are working at a hardware store, Wendy manages to save Ian from falling stakes, but death then skips to Aaron, who falls on a nail gun, which shoots nails into her head. While identifying the next two survivors from the photograph, Wendy realizes they are her sister Julie and one of her friends, promoting Wendy and Kevin to rush to the local Tricentennial Fair to save them. Kevin sees Julie from being impaled on a harrow, Harrow, but Wendy tries to question her sister about the next person. An airborne flagpole fatally impales Julie's friend Perry. After Wendy saves Kevin from an exploding propane canister, the trio is confronted by a grief-stricken Ian, who blames Wendy for Aaron's death. An unstable cart of fireworks blasts in Wendy's direction, which she, Kevin, and Julie are able to evade. It later hits the cherry picker, causing it to collapse on Ian, it killed him. 5 months later, Wendy experiences more omens while riding on a subway train with her roommate, Lauren, and her friend Shane. As Wendy is about to disembark, she suddenly reunites with Julie and Kevin, who had also boarded the train. Wendy receives another premonition that the train will crash, killing everyone on board. Panicked, the remaining survivors attempt to stop the train and crashes off screen. 6 years after a group of high school students first cheated Jeff, another teen has a premonition that she and her friends will be involved in a horrific roller coaster accident. When the vision proves true, the students and our fellow survivors must deal with the repercussions of cheating the Grim Reaper. 44 in Tomato Meter, 57 in Popcorn. Let's see what the reviews have to say. Not going to read all of them. That is a lot of reviews. The the absolute sense of wrong opener set on a wonky roller coaster. It's a little slushy otherwise, with Mary Elizabeth Wendy's doing my head in a bit in a series that delights in silliness. She's too much. Final Destination 3 is a fan favorite for a reason. The death scenes are the most visual, horrific ones so far in the franchise, and the cast are fantastic. Wrong and co-writer Glenn have again carefully and craftily plotted their set prices. Even Hostel showed more respect for the dead. A boring sequel. The film starts to pick up after it begins bowing literally from The Omen, even more than the first two, which are freak accident horror films, or by definition Omen clones. This one regresses the series to what Roger back in the Splinter film 80s dubbed the dead teenager genre. Not sure how much more overkill this franchise can take. I actually really like this one. So lazily plotted and poorly written. Critics are really hard. Like, critics can be hard. Let's see what the audience has to say. I love the beginning and the middle was interesting, but the characters are just boring and not interesting. I like the main character. The ending was cool. If it ended where the train got everyone, but it ends on a cliffhanger. Didn't like it. The beginning was great, but it ended up being bland. The jokes are cringe. It tries to be funnier and taps into pop culture references, but ultimately feels like an over-excitement sketch. I've already said that the second movie is a DLC from the first one, but this one is a DLC of a DLC. My experience with this movie seems to be quite like an episode of a series. Final Destination 3 used my favorite mostly because it kickstarts my fear of roller coasters. The best one of the franchise, the best cast and good plot twist. It is like a mixture of people liking and disliking this movie. A memorable sequel that has the two main characters that survive a horrific accident that didn't like each other forms a bond that makes you want to root for them to survive and thrive in their lives against their battle with death. Some of the greatest kills in the franchise, specifically the tanning beds, but with others kills, I feel like they could have been so much more. Like the Lewis who died to the weight machine. There was way too much CGI blood that it completely ruined the kill for me. 15 facts about Final Destination 3. Following the success of Final Destination 2, New Line greenlit this project very quickly. However, they intended it to be more of a standalone, not featuring any characters from the first two movies. Final Destination 3 saw the return of director James Wong, who had directed the first film. Later that year, Wong would write the screenplay for the Black Christmas remake, which also starred Mary Elizabeth. Prior to co-starring in the High School Musical movie, both Vanessa Hudgens and Ashley Tisdale auditioned for this role in this movie, but didn't get the part. The infamous roller coaster disaster required the actors to ride the coaster 26 times. That is a lot. To get all the necessary shots. Located in Vancouver, the coaster itself can be found at Playland Amusement Park. I was wondering because I was very curious. The climax that takes place in a hardware store was in fact a real functioning store and not a set. As a result, they could only shoot overnight when the store was closed, and to ensure that when they wrapped in the morning, the store had to look exactly as it did so it could open to the public again. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this Final Destination 3. We will talk about Final Destination 4 next. I hope you all have a great and wonderful day. Bye for now.